What's up guys, this is Ray, and today we'll be talking about the 2019 Japanese movie Diner, directed by Ninagawa Miki and starring Fujiwara Tatsuya and Tamashiro Tina. But before we dive into this review, if you guys are new to Eiga-Man Ray, I upload reviews and discussions of Japanese movies every chance that I get, so if you're new to the channel and you did the content, feel free to support the channel by checking out other videos here and of course subscribing. So on to the review. Diner is based off a manga, from what I understand. I have not read the manga, but this live action adaptation was directed by Ninagawa Miki, who I've seen a few movies of, and I think the majority of her works have a very similar aesthetic when it comes to its visuals. They're all pretty vibrant, they're all pretty colorful, but some of the examples that come to mind are Sakuran and Helter Skelter and the Netflix series Followers. The story of Diner, it's about this regular girl by the name of Oba Kanako, and her name is actually a pun. Her name is Kanako Oba if you were to say it in the English order, but if you say it in the Japanese order, it sounds like Big Idiot. But it's about this girl. She doesn't really know what to do in life. She's kind of lost, doesn't have any inspiration at all, when she gets inspired to visit South America, but in order to afford a ticket, she has to take upon a job. And the job she eventually finds and lands her with the wrong kind of business. She lands into the mix of criminals and whatnot, so she ends up getting not trapped, but basically ending up in this diner of sorts. This diner where she is forced to serve as a waitress. But the catch is, in this diner, they serve no one but killers. So she is forced into servitude at this diner. Otherwise, if she doesn't do her work, she's gonna get killed by the owner, Bombero. So that's the gist of the story of Diner. So when it comes to the positives that I have to say about this movie, as I hinted earlier, the visuals are great. I love the visuals of this movie. It's very vibrant, a lot of neon lights, a lot of purple and pink, and it really adds to the kind of energy that this movie is trying to give off when it comes to its story. So needless to say, a lot of the story does take place in the dark, and the lighting is basically the neon lights that are in the room. Not just the neon lights, but you see a lot of colors of red and pink and purple, blue, a lot of those kinds of shades lighting up the scene. It gives it a very nightlife kind of feel, and I think that's pretty cool. It's very stylistic, and even some of the action sequences that are in this movie, like, it's way over the top. Like, you get there's this one scene when some characters are fighting inside the diner, and there are these rose petals just flying everywhere as if they were doves in a John Woo movie. But this movie just gives in to that kind of energy and that kind of aesthetic. And I dig the editing in this movie. There's a lot of just hyper quick, high octane editing that makes otherwise probably mundane scenes just have a lot more energy. It's pretty fast paced, and the way it cuts between scene to scene and also from dialogue to dialogue. And I think the mix of just the high octane pacing and the editing and the visuals, the vibrant visuals, and also the performances by the actors here and their dialogue make for a really fun and energetic story. And I have to compliment the two lead performers. Fujiwara Tatsuya, I often say he doesn't have a lot of range when it comes to his acting, when it comes to the characters he portrays, but I feel like it's characters like Bombero that Fujiwara can really deliver an entertaining performance. It's just very quick dialogue and just very just a lot of shouting, if you will, and just being cool and mysterious. And I think Fujiwara Tatsuya does that character archetype pretty well. I mean, for other examples of the kinds of characters that Fujiwara does well that are similar to Bombero, just check out his characters in movies like 1/3 and $1 Million Man. And another actress that I gotta comment on is Tamashiro Tina. She's one of those up-and-comers, has a building filmography. I think the first movie I've seen her in was Sadako vs. Kayako, where she played, a typical horror girl, J-horror girl, just running around scared. But I feel like recently she's been coming up. For example, just check out this movie and even The Flowers of Evil, which came out the same year. But I think she delivered a very entertaining performance in this one too. Like, for most of the movie, she seems kind of like, when she really is dead and demotivated, uninspired, you really feel that. And you kind of feel like her character is just trying to just bust out of her shell, just like break through. And she goes through that kind of process as the movie goes on, and you can kind of see that character growth come out because of Tamashiro Tina's performance. And the type of characters that populate, or that are patrons to the diner, they are, they're here for like a few scenes here and there. But many of them are played by bigger actors, like Oguri Shinzen here. Saito Takumi has a very small part, but very entertaining part here. Kubota Masataka, Hongo Kanata. Like, if you look carefully, you look through like all the makeup that these characters are in, all the prosthetics and the fancy costumes, I gotta say. Then you can see them, recognize them, and I think if you're fans of those actors, you'll be entertained by them. And as I hinted earlier, there are a few action sequences in this movie, and I think the action sequences are very fun and very entertaining, and they mostly happen towards the end of the story, but when they do, it's fun. It's a whole lot of fun. When it comes to the negatives of Diner, I gotta say, the overarching story of the entire overarching story was kind of weak. You get bits and pieces of it here and there, but I feel like it wasn't to the point where you really cared about what's going to happen, especially when they introduce who would eventually, or even who the possibility of who's going to be the big bad of the story. I think you don't really care much for it, because you pay more attention to the visuals and these other side characters and also the main two characters that you don't really, I don't know, for me at least, I didn't really care much for the overarching story. I didn't even know there was an overarching story until probably the final 30 minutes. And I guess this is one of the weaknesses when it comes to adapting a manga, which, usually has several volumes, dozens of chapters to work their way through to build up all this character growth, whereas in a movie format, you only have about 2 hours to make use of the source material. But yeah, and also a lot of these supporting characters, they're literally in only for like 1 or 2 scenes, and some of these characters are made to at least be built up to be more important than what they seem to be, and they're also played by actors who are definitely a lot larger than the characters that are portrayed. And another thing I thought was in the rather weak side, or rather it was there, but I think they could have made it a lot stronger, is that part of the story, part of the development of Kanako's character is that she realizes that she wants to be a cook too. She wants to learn how to make stuff, but there are not many scenes in which Bombero mentors her at all. It's mainly just him just not dicking around, just him bossing around, being an asshole to her, just being kind of like a drill sergeant to her, but not really teaching her anything. I felt like that was what the movie was trying to build up towards. Granted, there is a little bit of that towards the latter half of the movie, towards the end, but I feel like there wasn't enough of a mentor-disciple relationship presented in the story. And so that being said, you don't get as many scenes that I thought was necessary of Bombero teaching Kanako anything about cooking. It's, I don't want to say much about what happens because I think it dives into a little bit spoiler territory, but yeah, there isn't much when it comes to Bombero teaching Kanako anything. And I felt that was something that they're building up towards in this story, but they really just only squeeze in the latter half. So yeah, they could have done better when it came to just the relationship between Kanako and Bombero. I mean, on their own, the characters are entertaining, they're fun, but when it comes to the way the story presented their relationship with each other, they could have done a lot better. But overall, what do I have to say about Diner? It was fine. It was fun. As an adaptation of the source material, I don't know how well it holds up. If you guys have read the manga Diner, and you've seen this movie, let me know how much it compares. I'm not entirely sure. I can kind of see how it tries to adapt different episodes and different story arcs in the context of this movie. I'm not sure how well it did it, but as a standalone viewing experience, I thought it was fine. It's fun and energetic. There's a lot of great visuals. Storytelling could have used a little bit more work, but overall, it was an entertaining experience. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Diner. What did you guys think? Please let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and of course, subscribe. Follow me on all the social media channels. And by all means, if you really dig my content, feel free to hit the notification bell. And also, by all means, check out my Patreon page. Link is in the description area below. And yeah, that's about it for me, guys. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to all my patrons who keep supporting this channel and everything that I do. And of course, I hope to catch you all again in the next video. Take it easy.